What's up, tricksters? It is that time again when we do a biannual Ultimate Agents tier list presented by your favorite Radiant coach, Charlatano Papito. As always, this is not going to be your classic tier list where I simply tell you that some characters are S tier while others are garbage. No. Our main goal is to help you find your perfect playstyle and agents that are truly going to carry you in ranked solo queue, while also making you understand how to improve faster. Now, why should you trust me and listen to my advice in this guide? I've been a Radiant coach for the last 5 years and I've successfully improved around 4,500 players since closed beta. I've coached players all the way from Iron to Radiant, while some of them became content creators, professional players, or they also started doing some kind of coaching. Finally, I've reached Radiant 23 times while only playing solo, and it is good for you to understand that you're not learning from some random content creator that doesn't understand what it takes to be at the top. Now, all of this information that I'm about to share with you is backed by an enormous amount of data tracking, my personal experience, as well as what I see inside of my coaching programs. Also keep in mind that on my Discord server, I'm always updating this tier list with all of the other coaching documents and playbooks after every single patch in Valorant. So make sure to join it if you want to be up to date with everything that I'm gonna share with you today. Since we got that out of the way, let's find the perfect agents for your successful climb in 2025. First thing that we need to discuss when it comes to your improvement and when it comes to your growth as a player, becoming an esports professional or reaching Radiant is, what are your main goals in a game of Valorant? One of your main goals is to start playing with and against better players as soon as possible, by abusing any means necessary. Obviously here we don't include boosting or buying the accounts. Essentially, you want to abuse any slight advantage that you can get above others. Every tip, every trick, and every strategy matters a lot, as well as the agents that you're playing. So you also want to abuse the meta and the most broken things within the game at this moment of time. Now, why is this important? Because when you start playing with and against better players, you will naturally adapt, improve, and rank up faster. Let's be honest, you're not going to learn anything new or anything good by being a hard-stuck, low elo player. Your second goal is developing yourself as an individual. You want to reach Radiant by improving 95% of your skill sets and to find the perfect solo playstyles that suit you the best. So you should be developing your game knowledge, decision making, communication, mentality, and every other skill, while trying to figure out what are your strengths, what are your limitations, and what are your main individual values. For an example, my main value is usually my clutch potential, the way how I think in the game, and my overall adaptiveness. Basically, I'm able to recognize win conditions in a really short amount of time and to make the most optimal game decisions in that short time frame. In the other hand, my limitation is my mechanical skill ceiling, which I'm successfully compensating with my strengths and with the agents that I main. The beauty of Valorant is that there are so many different playstyles and skills that can get you into Radiant. You just need to figure out where do you excel the most and what works the best for you. Now, if you're struggling to improve all of these skills on your own, that is where today's video partner, Rela AI, comes in clutch. This is an incredible tool that can help you with fundamentals, strategies, and even lineups. It's an app that works as a real-time coach that is backseating you during the actual games. If you're playing an agent with lineups and setups, or maybe you're forced to fill for your team, Rela AI can be used to help you learn them as you're playing the match, with an in-game display. Based on its database that contains thousands of strategies from pro players and teams, this software also knows what's happening in your current game, and it can give you real-time insights into great plays that you can make. There are multiple other useful tools, such as different alerts and notifications for things that you maybe struggle with, such as pacing, repositioning, economy, and much more. Also, it is partnered with Overwolf, which is authorized by Riot Games, so you know that it is 100% allowed to use in-game. If you want to try Rela AI for yourself, I'll leave a link at the top of the description below. Now, your final goal, if you want to become a professional, is to develop yourself as a team player. You need to find a specific team play value and playstyle. Your value in ranked solo queue can be completely different from your team value, and once again, you need to ask yourself, where do you excel the most? Are you a really good entry fragger? Are you a really good lurker, flanker? Do you have really good timings, or maybe you're a really good IGL? Keep in mind that there is not a single org that is gonna sign you if you don't have some specific values that you bring into that team. You need to look at yourself as an asset while you're consistently building up your value in order to become a pro player. Now, what is the main focus of this specific tier list? This list is representing the best agents for players' fast solo improvement in the ranked environment. Keep in mind that different agents are going to impact the improvement rate of your individual skills on a different level. Basically, the speed of your overall improvement and of your rank is directly correlated to the agents that you main. Obviously, this is not the only factor that impacts your improvement rate, but it is one that is really important. If you're playing agents that are not good in a specific rank or that simply don't suit you at all, you cannot expect to improve and rank up fast. So the main focus of this list is the ranked solo duo environment below the professional ELO. This tier list means absolutely nothing to you if you're just playing for fun or if you're already above Immortal 3 around 400 plus rank rating. Because in this ELO and in esports environment, every agent is viable to a certain degree. That is why it's very important that you find the perfect playstyles for yourself and main agents before you reach at least Immortal. Since we already touched this topic of ELOs and ranks, it is really important for you to understand how do we divide players in Valorant. So we divide players in specific ELOs based on which skill sets they need to improve in order to move forward. Essentially, which gameplay problems they need to fix in order to move on to the next level or to be truly considered a specific rank. Now every player needs to improve 9 specific skill sets at any skill level. This also means that perfect player doesn't exist. These 9 skill sets are the game knowledge, decision making, team play, adaptiveness, mechanical skill, training and preparation, communication, mentality, and attitude. There's always something new that you can work on at your specific skill level in order to become a better player or to reach the next level in your career. You stop growing when you start thinking that you're the best or that there's nothing else that you can improve. You will especially stagnate if you consistently blame others for your failures. Keep in mind that at least 60% of rounds and matches that you lose are always your fault to a certain degree, and you could have done something better. If pro players are working 24/7 on themselves in order to become better, this means that you can probably do something better and work on yourself as well. This is why a lot of players are hard stuck, because they simply don't deserve to be in a specific ELO based on their current skill levels. Charlatan, stop yapping and tell me, how do we actually divide players and ranks in different ELOs? We divide players based on their skill sets in 3 main ELOs, which are low, medium, and high. Low ELO is everything from Iron 1 to Diamond 3, where players mostly lack proper game knowledge, decision making, and mechanical skill in order to move forward. So if you want to reach Ascendant, your game knowledge, decision making, and mechanical skill need to be at least on a medium ELO levels. But in low ELO we also have 3 subcategories. Beginner's ELO is everything from Iron 1 to Bronze 3. True low ELO is everything from Silver 1 to Gold 3. While players in between Platinum 1 and Diamond 3 are considered like a high-low ELO. Obviously they cannot be compared to other low ELO players, but they still need to work on very similar problems. Medium ELO is everything from Ascendant 1 to Immortal 2, where players mostly lack proper understanding of ranked team play, communication, mentality, and attitude. So if you want to reach Immortal 3, your ranked team play, communication, mentality, and attitude need to be on a high ELO levels. But you still need to simultaneously work on your game knowledge, decision making, and mechanical skill in order to become a true high ELO player. And finally we have the high ELO, which is everything above Immortal 3, where players mostly lack higher levels of adaptiveness and they need to learn how to properly play every single in-game scenario to perfection. So if you want to reach Radiant, your adaptiveness needs to be on a pro ELO levels, as well as the majority of your other skills. But in high ELO we also have one subcategory, which I've already mentioned, the pro ELO, which is usually everything above 400 plus rank rating, basically the top 1000 players. And for this ELO you need to improve 95% of your individual skill sets onto Radiant levels in order for you to be considered a true Radiant player. As a final note, this image is showcasing an approximate skill gap between different ranks in Valorant. Now, with all of this in mind, which are the best agents to main for an average player? Usually the best idea for 90% of players is to main agents that are extremely versatile, self-sustainable, and to some degree forgiving in a ranked environment. Essentially, you want to main agents that have high solo carry potential and that can easily play at least 90% of different scenarios that you encounter in this game. You want to main agents that are going to put you in as many different scenarios as possible in order for you to grow faster as an individual. It really doesn't matter that maybe at this moment of time your mechanical skill is bad, your entry fragging sucks, or maybe you have terrible timings. You simply need to develop yourself in every single field if you ever plan to become a consistent Radiant or a professional player. And the best way to do that is to grow your experience through different situations that you encounter within the game. The next topic that you need to understand is, do team compositions matter in ranked, and when should you fill? TLDR is that team comps don't matter at all until around Immortal 3 400 plus rank rating, as long as you have a good controller for that specific elo and map. Team comps are usually only important in high elo lobbies, above Immortal 3, where anyways you need to adapt yourself to different agents and playstyles. Remember that your journey from Immortal 3 to Radiant will be heavily impacted by your overall adaptiveness as a player. You'll need to understand how to play majority of scenarios to perfection with specific agents and team compositions, and to fully understand your win conditions. That is why after Immortal 3 you should be willing to do whatever it takes in order to win a specific round or a match. So to sum it up, in low and medium elo you should never fill at all, and the better team will always win, as long as you have at least a good controller. But generally speaking, no matter in which rank you're playing, it is always a bad idea for you or for your teammates to play agents on which you're not comfortable and which you didn't master at all. Most of the times in ranked, it is better to have a bad team composition where your whole team is comfortable on agents that they're playing, rather than having a perfect team comp but nobody knows what they're doing or how they should play their characters. Now, how many agents should you master for an easier ranked grind? Until Immortal 2, you want to completely master 2 agents and have 2 additional alternative picks if you really need to fill. Once you reach Immortal 3, you should completely master 3 agents and have 2 or 3 additional alternative picks. Just keep in mind that for every agent that you main, you need to develop in-depth playbooks for them in order to have multiple strategies and solutions for every scenario. This is where the ranked playbook on my Discord server can help you a lot. Also remember that you need to spend around 300 to 500 hours on an agent in order to truly master some character, and in order to call that agent your main. And don't get me wrong, you can be a one-trick pony and reach Radiant with only one agent, but your grind is going to be 10 times easier if you become a bit more versatile. For an example, all of the challenges that I did up to Radiant, with different agents and with different guns, helped me a lot to become a better coach and a better player. Because different agents will teach you different skill sets which will naturally enhance your overall game knowledge, adaptiveness and situational awareness. Also, you will get a really high understanding of what to expect, how to counter and how to play with different characters or around different team compositions. Of course, you don't need to go into these extreme levels, cause my job is to coach players and to make you improve. So as long as you truly master 2 to 3 agents, you have 2 to 3 alternative picks, and you briefly understand what to expect from every character in the game, you are on the right path, my friend. Now, before we start with the actual tier list, it is very important for you to understand how do we divide agents in Valorant. First of all, Initiator, Controller, Duelist and Sentinel roles do not exist for you. We actually have 4 completely different agent categories based on their core utility purpose. First, we have the movement type of agents, which are usually the best for players' overall fast improvement, because they're going to put you into an enormous amount of different scenarios, and also they are usually the most versatile and self-sustainable. Then we have the flash type of agents, which are optimal or good characters that are the best for situations where some level of team play is possible. Third type are the immobile characters, which are usually decent agents that are mostly good for filling and as some alternative picks. And finally, we have the raw recon type of agents, which are usually the worst to be mained before medium and high elo lobbies. In this document on my Discord server at Important Guides text channel, you can find everything that you need to know about these categories. I also specifically mentioned in which elos and in which ranks it is worth it to play or to master a specific character. Because even if an agent is S tier, that doesn't mean that it is the best in every rank. And as I've already mentioned, I'm updating this document after every single patch. This list, same as any other, we're gonna go from A to Z, starting with Astra. Astra is basically a very solid controller. The problem with Astra is that this agent is the best in team environments. In VCT, she's amazing. In high elo lobbies, in professional elo, she is also amazing. But playing Astra in low elo, and medium elo is a complete Sudoku. Her outplay potential is basically zero. And also another problem of Astra is that her smokes and how she is using the smokes and stars, I mean generally utility, is not really beginners friendly. It can be very confusing for a lot of players. Essentially that is why she cannot be S tier ever in ranked solo queue. Astra is a solid D tier agent in Valorant, in ranked solo queue. Second agent on our list is the Mr. Breach. Compared to some other initiators, I'm looking at you, KO, he is not that bad. His flashes are super fast, super good. You can use all of his utility for yourself and for your team as well. Also, depending on the map pool, he can be a mega good initiator. Also, in combination with other initiators, such as Teho for an example, he can also be mega good. Also, when you're playing duo queue with your friend, that is maybe playing duelist, he can also be mega good. Considering all of the power levels of Breach in ranked solo queue, he is a solid like A- tier. Now then, we have Brimstone. Very beginners friendly. Basically, you're playing Counter-Strike. We have the molly lineups, amazing ultimate to take the space, to take control, to execute the bomb sites, to retake the bomb sites, to play the post plants. Overall, he is the most simple controller that you can learn in this game beside the Clove. So because he is like, you know, he's still a meta on some of the maps. Like, you know, on Fracture, he is probably the best controller you can play. On Bind, he is also very, very strong. But the problem is, like, he is not really a hyper carry. You know, like, a lot of scenarios that you can play with other agents, you simply cannot properly play with Brimstone Zinho. And that is why Brimstone is a solid B+ tier agent. Now, the next agent on our tier list, it's a Chamber Brothers. Like, Chamber throughout the years, like, received so many nerfs, also some of the buffs as well. Even though he's a highly mechanical agent, he still has his teleport. Even if you're not an aim demon, if you use his utility properly, primarily the teleport, you can always take some kind of a safe fight, reset yourself, and get a second opportunity to fight the enemies. And that is the main power of this character. Like, he is not really the best agent in high elo lobbies, because his teleport is useless in high elo lobbies. Why? Because it takes too much time to teleport. Like in high elo above Immortal 3, players are gonna shit on you. It's better for you to peek the enemies without the teleport, because at least then you know that, you know, you need to commit to the fight. In ranked solo queue, right now, especially after the buffs for his teleport, he is a solid A+ tier agent. We come to another agent that is beloved by this community, and that is the Clove. Essentially, Clove is currently the agent with the highest win rate in ranked solo queue. But don't be deceived. The stats don't matter at all when you're choosing which agent to play. The only thing that matters is what suits your playstyle. Clove is the second most simple controller that you can play in this game, but the power levels that Clove has over the Brimstone is obviously the heal and her ultimate. Essentially, like, Clove is like a hybrid between a controller and a Phoenix, which is in ranked solo queue better than having a Brimstone's ultimate. So if you consider all of the other controllers, if you consider the win rate as well, Clove is probably the second best controller that you can play in this game, and with which you can improve yourself. That is why she is a solid A+ tier agent as well. Then we have the OG Sentinel, one of the most picked Sentinel in the game, and that is the Cypheroni Braderoni. Very good. A Sentinel that is good in every single elo, in every single environment. The main power of this character is that even on the attacker side, you don't need to play him as a Sentinel. Like, you don't need to lurk and flank every single round. You have multiple different playstyles that you can use with Cypher to aggress the enemies with multiple different weapons. You know, just look at the Daznert for an example. Judge, cages, get in your face. You know, use a camera as a bait. Cypher is probably the most versatile Sentinel that you can main in ranked solo queue. But the only reason why I would not really recommend players to play Cypher in ranked solo queue, you know why I would not put Cypher in S tier, is because players develop a really bad playstyle with this agent. They play way too passive. They play him as a pure sentinel. Cypher right now, because of the current meta, he is a solid A-tier agent, and we're gonna put him at A-. We have another agent, which some part of the community likes a lot, while the other part hates her, and that is the Deadlock. Now, Deadlock is one of these agents that you kinda ask yourself, why does this even exist in Valorant? Another hybrid sentinel that is hit or miss. They're trying to buff her, and probably in the future she's gonna receive even more buffs and more changes, but the problem of Deadlock is that her sound sensors you cannot really use in the same way that you would use regular Sentinel sub-utility. Deadlock we're gonna put at C tier right now. Now we come to another initiator in the game, and that is the Federoni. Solid initiator. She is not that useful on every single map, you know, like she really needs a specific map pool in order to play her. Also, Fade's problem is like she's lacking a bit of versatility. You use the dogs to engage the enemies. You shoot the dogs. You use reveal. Enemies shoot the reveal. You use the C's. Enemies are inside of the C's. They one-tap you. It's over. Her ultimate, mega good. But when we combine all of these aspects of Fade, let's be honest, I would rather play Breach with Aftershock, 2 flashes, stun, and an AoE stun ultimate, rather than playing Agent with so many utility that can be destroyed. We need to put the Fade at C+ tier. You can try her out from Platinum 1 to Radiant. But if you're below Platinum, there are better initiators that you can play. And that brings us to another initiator, and that is Geckimus Maximus. Gecko is a really good and the most versatile initiator in the game right now. I know. His utility is very easy to be destroyed, but also his utility is good for both yourself and your teammates. You can also pick it up and retrieve it as well. This doesn't mean that Gecko is the best agent to grind the ranks in ranked solo queue, but if you already need to main, or you want to main some kind of an initiator, I would always recommend players to first start with Gecko. And that is why we're gonna put the Gecko in A tier. And that brings us... yes, sir. Riot Games did our Indian community so fucking dirty. Since his release, he has been, and he is, the most dogshit agent in Valorant. The lowest pick rate, the lowest win rate. Whoever designed this agent deserves to be fired. His kit is so useless. It's insanity. Then we come to the first duelist on this listeroni. Izo Eroni, Braderoni. Izo received a lot of great changes. Like when he got released first, he was solid. Now he's even better. You know, now his versatility and self-sustainability became much better. You know, with the debuff ability, now you cancel enemy's utility. It's easier to take space with his wall. Shield is still powerful and ultimate is actually good. But the problem of Izo is that you need to aim. Of course, like as you're grinding in ranked solo queue, you should be developing your mechanical skill. But the problem of this character is that he lacks versatility in ranked solo queue. Currently, Izo is probably one of the best mechanical agents that you can main. Mechanical duelists, you know, such as Izo, Reyna, Neon, etc, etc. Which brings us to a much better pick, and that is Jett. I'm not gonna talk about this agent too much. Still, one of the best duelists in the game. Still, one of the best agents with which you can improve yourself and with which you can grind in ranked solo queue. Still, an agent that you see in 60 to 70% of the games that you play, maybe even more, to be honest. The only thing is that I kinda stopped recommending Jett to players that are playing in between Iron 1 and Bronze 3. You know, in that beginner's ELO. You need some level of timings and understanding when to use the dash ability and when not to use it. But after Platinum 1, I mean, Jett is really good. Probably the best duelist you can learn in this game. She is still S+ tier agent in the game. The only thing is that maybe because of all of the nerfs that she received, if you're below Platinum 1, there are maybe some other better picks. And that's it. Now we have a Robocup, which is basically KO. KO recently received a buff, but it's not enough. KO is like really a VCT agent. Very simple agent. Like if you're coming from Counter-Strike into Valorant, KO and Reyna are probably the best agents that you can play. You know, just aim and do the pop flashes and stuff like that. But the problem with KO is like KO is a support character. Like KO is not really a solo carry. You're playing miles away from your teammates and flashing for them. Hey Jet, peek A main. Hey Raze, peek B main. Hey Chamber, use your teleport. I'm gonna give you this pop flash. But if you're playing in ranked solo queue, first of all, you don't know for who you're flashing. You know, you don't know who you're supporting. Like how good or how bad are your teammates. But on some maps, he's really good. For an example, on Ascent, he is still a meta in ranked solo queue. And that is why he is the first agent that we're gonna put in the C- tier, below the Deadlock. I'm sorry to all of the KO mains, but he has a really terrible win rate in ranked solo queue for a reason. Now we have another Sentinel in the game, and that is the Killjoy, you know, the OG Senti. In the previous years, Killjoy was, alongside Cypher, one of the best Sentinels that you can main in the game. But because of so much utility in the game, you know, like for example, Tejo and stuff like that, and because of so many nerfs that she received, she is still a solid pick. You know, on some maps you need to have a Killjoy, such as Icebox, and even on Ascent she's still a meta pick, and on Fracture she's still good, but essentially in ranked solo queue you don't have that many options as you have with Cypher, for an example. And that is why she is a B tier, an agent that you should consider playing from Ascendant 1 to Radiant as well. Then we have the third duelist on this tier list, and that is my friend Neon. Neon is a very niche pick. Either this agent is going to immediately click with you and you're gonna be demon on this character, or you're gonna be absolutely dogshit. This is the duelist that probably relies the most on superb mechanical skill and movement, and proper entry pathing, and generally like proper positioning on the map. She is like a B- character. You can give her a try, but usually in less than 20 to 30 hours, you can figure out if this character suits you or not. And finally, we come to our dear friend, the Shadow Man himself, Omensky. Now, Omen, even though his one-way smokes got nerfed, his paranoia got nerfed, he is still the best agent for players' improvement in Valorant. He is not the best agent to carry every single game, but when it comes to, you know, everything that you need to learn in Valorant, this is the agent that you want to main. Also, when it comes to the self-sustainability of this agent, he probably has the highest levels of self-sustainability and versatility as well. Basically, he's like a balance between a controller and Jet. The only reason why Omen has a low win rate in ranked solo queue is because players play him only as a support. That is the only reason. And I'm not biased here. You know, like I also do coaching on Gecko, Chamber, and these players are also reaching Radiant. Like I have high levels of knowledge on almost every character. Omen, beside the Jet, is still the S+ tier agent, the best controller you can learn for ranked solo queue grind, and probably the best agent that you can master. Now we come to another duelisto, and that is the Phoenix. Now when it comes to the Phoenix, essentially, this character is very interesting. Phoenix is an agent that has the highest win rate. No, not the highest, the most consistent win rate in ranked solo queue since closed beta. Probably one of the best agents that you can play if you're a newcomer to Valorant. Very simple kit, very self-sustainable kit. 2 flashes, Molotov, Wall, self-healing, second life, ultimate only costs 6 ultimate points. Like you can have the ultimate like 5, 6, 7 times during a match sometimes. A lot of the community is sleeping on this character, and I don't know why. Like especially now, when he got buffed. Now the flashes are a signature ability, and the wall, his wall, is traveling through other walls. He's amazing. The only problem of Phoenix is that he just doesn't have the same levels of versatility, same as some other characters such as Jet. That is why for Phoenix, we need to make a completely different tier, and that is the S-. He is like on the edge between the S tier and A tier. Which brings us to another amazing duelist in this game, and that is Raze. When it comes to Raze, I really, once again, have nothing to speak about. She's amazing. even after all of the nerfs that she received. Very versatile character, very self-sustainable, very noob-friendly as well. You deal tons of damage, you can clear angles, you can pressure the enemies, you can take the kills without actually seeing the enemies with a nade, with the ultimate, with the boombot, with the satchels. Like, with one nade you can destroy the whole Cypher setup on every single bomb site. The only mechanic that you kind of need to learn with this agent is double satcheling. But to be honest, like, if you just spend, like, I don't know, 30 minutes in a custom server, you should already develop a feeling for that. Like, it's simple. Which brings us to another static flash type of duelist, and that is Reyna. I'm not gonna talk about this character too much, like, solid duelist, you know, very noob friendly. But to be honest, Aizo is simply a bit better right now. Reyna is a very niche pick, basically a Smurf character. That is why Reyna is, like, currently just slightly below Aizo. You know, B tier instead of B+. Now, we have another Sentinel, and that is Sage. Sage is not really the same Sage that we had a few years ago. So many nerfs, so many fixes, so many patches, so many bad shit happening to this character. Like, Sage is a full-on support agent right now, same as KO. She is solid in high elo lobbies where if I revive Aspas in ranked solo queue, if I revive Durkay, if I revive, like, Horkus, I know that I'm reviving a player that is actually gonna dominate and shit on the enemies and that's gonna be useful in my team. But you know, like, most of the times, like, you're just gonna be behind your teammates in ranked solo queue, you know, healing them, reviving your Raze mate that is, like, 0-15. Her wall is, like, deadlock utility is simply a bit better. The next agent is the Ladybird, you know, another flash initiator, and that is Skye. The problem of Skye is that, once again, she received too many nerfs in the previous years. She is a really good agent for VCT, for team play, for high elo lobbies, but if you're playing below at least Ascendant 1, I would never touch this agent. Her flashes are very easy to dodge, in my opinion. Yes, you can use different mechanics to peek the enemies, but now you cannot cancel the flash. You're always gonna flash yourself and enemies and everyone. She is a support type of initiator, the full-on support type of initiator. Healing, you cannot heal yourself, you only heal your teammates. Ultimate is useful, but at the end of the day, it's the cabbages that you can simply destroy. Fade ultimate is much better. Because of all of these weaknesses, she's like a solid C-tier agent that you can maybe consider playing in lobbies that are, you know, Ascendant 1 to Radiant. With that being said, we move on to another initiator, which is quite similar to, you know, Fade, and that is basically Sova. Now, don't get me wrong, Sova is much better than Fade in team environments and in VCT. Much better, obviously. But the problem of Sova is that, at least with a Fade, you have two dogs, you have a seize, you have a reveal that you can do in different ways, and you have the ultimate that is to some level consistent. With Sova, you open up a drone and you're watching your teammates in 4K dying on the bomb site. Like, the problem of this agent is, like, you do a reveal, you do the arrows to destroy the enemy setups. You're doing a drone and your teammates are still in the choke point, waiting to move in. And we have the final initiator on this list, and that is our brother, Colombian brother, the Draglord Teho. We're gonna keep it simple. He is same as Gecko, so he's A tier. The only thing that Teho is kinda missing is a bit faster utility usage. Like, for example, here, I would make a big disparity between a Gecko and between a Teho. Like, Gecko is A+, Teho is like A-. You use a special delivery, it activates after a second and a half, 2 seconds. You use Guided Salvo, it activates after like 1.5, 2 seconds. Like, he's really an agent that you need to play in a very specific way and with a very specific mindset in order to make him work. But on the other hand, every single piece of his utility is mega useful. Ultimate, good luck playing bomb sets against that. With Guided Salvo, you can clear enormous amount of Sentinel setups without even, you know, being close to them. Here's Drone, mega useful. You have a suppress ability and a recon ability. What else do you need? The only problem with Teho is that even though he is really high on this list, he still works the best like in team environments. Like, you have some levels of solo outplay that you can do, but the problem is, like, sometimes in some games, you're gonna feel stuck, step bro. TLDR, when it comes to Teho. A-tier agent, very good, very powerful. Requires some level of team play in some of the games, but still, every single piece of his utility is good even for some solo outplays and to create some scenarios that work in your favor. Now, we have the final controller, and that is Viper. Viper got ruined, basically. You know, Viper is unplayable in ranked solo queue. Unless you're playing in super high elo lobbies, or you're playing her in VCT and team environments. The only map where I would actually play Viper as a solo controller in ranked solo queue is Breeze. Even on Icebox I would consider... On Icebox I would prefer Omen a lot of the times, all the way up to Immortal 3. I would actually recommend you to play Omen if you play him in a way that I'm teaching you and, you know, playbook on Discord server, all of that stuff. Viper is amazing as a secondary controller on almost every single map. But playing Viper as a primary controller on, I don't know, Split in ranked solo queue, you really like losing. You really enjoy, you know, suffering in life. That is why Viper is gonna be the same tier as Astra, basically pro play. Now we have the final Sentinel on this list, and that is the Viseroni. Recently, I found a love for this agent. You know, I started playing Vice a lot more, and she's super fun in high elo lobbies and in pro play. You can effortlessly play a lot of the maps in Radiant lobbies with this agent. She's super good. When you have teammates around you, they know what, you know, what they should do, and basically like you're just waiting on the site to stomp the enemies. But the problem is that on attacker side, she's super useless, man. Like, I mean, she's not useless, just she doesn't have the same level of power as Cypher and Killjoy. You only have the wall, which is not enough information. I mean, Jet can literally updraft above the wall and dodge it and raise as well. Like, it's stupid, to be honest. Like, in some situations. Also, the Razor Vines on the attack are easy to destroy if you're improvising with them. And even if you place them like it's a Razor Vine, enemies can still be in that corner, wait for you to come close and to destroy you with a Judge, with, you know, with a Vandal in the head, whatever. The main problem of Vice is just attacker side. And that is why in ranked solo queue, I cannot really recommend you Vice for every single rank and every single elo. So when it comes to Vice, she is a B- tier, a solid B agent, you know, B tier agent. Now we come to the Vele Lele. Vele Lele Lele. Personally, for a long time, I had no idea where to put Vele on the tier list, because I didn't play her that much. I didn't coach any players on Vele, but recently I coached 4 players on this agent. All 4 of these players were playing in different elos. One player was silver, other player was platinum, then we had a player that was like diamond, not really a different elo, but whatever, and then we had like a player that was immortal. We got some interesting results. Vele is like a hybrid between Jet, Initiator, and Chamber. The main problem of Vele in ranked solo queue is that she doesn't really have a cover when it comes to taking the space on the attacker's side. Like, you need to be mega careful where you're dashing, how you're taking the space, and when to use her teleport ability, like when to poop yourself behind. If you put all of her abilities, you know, the saturate ability, the dash, the teleport, the ultimate, you would say this is broken. But the problem is there is 26 other agents that can counter her or that are better. Now, you're gonna be surprised where I'm gonna put the Vele. I told you, I've already coached 4 players on Vele. I coached them to play this agent in a very specific way. To play her more like in a cheesy way on claustrophobic maps, because Vele can literally abuse some of the Chamber and Jet setups in a much safer way because of a teleport. And her teleport is much better than Chamber's teleport because she can teleport in the middle of the air. So it's easier to kill the enemies with the shotguns and cheesy strategies with good positioning and good setups. All 4 of these players actually had like 60% plus win rate on this agent. She is like a solid A-tier pick. She can stay here. And finally, we have probably the most fun agent in the game. Yoru and Omen, literally the most amount of fun you can have in Valorant. These 2 agents just scream fun. when you watch the Omen and Yoru gameplay, like, I don't know, I enjoy it the most, to be fair. Like, Yoru clips, Yoru outplays are probably the most watched right now, because Yoru is probably the only character on which there is some level of creativity left. Very versatile, very self-sustainable, and a very forgiving agent as well. Now, the only problem of Yoru is that you really need, like, to have at least 9 to 10 setups on each map that you need to remember and that you need to practice 24/7. You need high levels of game knowledge and game sense. Because of the meta shift, and because of all of the other nerfs and buffs that we got in Valorant, Yoru is a solid S-tier agent, once you master him. Now, which of these agents are the best on different maps? Once again, in this document on my Discord server, you can find a list where I briefly explain the best agents from general Valorant categories on each map. Keep in mind that this list is just a general guideline and it should not impact your personal preference. So stick to your current main agents if you're already finding success with them on a specific map, even if they're maybe not the most optimal pick. Finally, we come to the last part. Which agents are the best for you? I would always recommend newcomers and players below Ascendant 1 to main movement and flash type of agents that are equal or above B tier. For others, this choice heavily relies on your personal playstyle and limitations, basically on your strengths and weaknesses as a player. If I don't coach you, essentially understand you as a player in person, it's really hard for me to tell exactly which agents are the best for you. But I would always recommend you to follow my ultimate agents tier list when you're choosing your main characters. Now, generally speaking, if you want to main duelists, I'd currently recommend you to mainly focus on Jett, Raze, Yoru, Veiley, or Phoenix. If you want to main initiators, focus on Gecko, Teho, Breach, or Fade. If you want to main sentinels, Chamber or Cypher are currently the best picks. And if you want to become a controller main, I'd definitely recommend you to master either Omen or Clove. Usually the best practice is to pick 2 or 3 main agents from the same categories that are previously mentioned in this video. So if you're maining Omen as a controller, picking another movement type of agent as a main would be the most optimal. Then you should pick 2 or 3 fill agents based on the current map pool or what you think will suit you the best. And as a final tip, before you decide if an agent is actually good for you, whether or not it suits you, give that agent at least 50 hours trial period of time. If I helped you decide which agents to play, you can help me a lot by subscribing and leaving a like on this video. Consider joining my Discord server for private coaching, because there you can also find a ranked playbook that is gonna help you a lot when it comes to mastering all of these agents on every map. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you, my dear tricksters, on my Twitch live streams and in some future guides for your fast improvement in Valorant. Cut, baby!